a lot of new and exciting projects, but I think the one that we're most known for in New Mexico is our early builder project for public safety broadband. So we're building out a wireless network for public safety broadband based on 3GPP LTE standards for 2 areas of our state, focusing primarily on multiple levels of government in the border region. So we're able to target users from the federal, state, and local level that have several joint missions within that region, depending on task force and those types of things. The tools that they can use beyond just voice communications is what we'll be adding to their system. We'll be turning that up in September. Very excited about that project. There's several projects that we do collaborate at multiple levels. Obviously, the FirstNet is the top of our list simply because it's one of our key learning conditions under our agreement with the FirstNet Authority. So our access to the spectrum, the public safety spectrum, is dependent on us working across levels of government. We learned a lot from that on how we work with the individuals at the local level, how to work through a county government organizational structure, make sure you're addressing your council and your county manager and all of those folks. So when you get to the federal level, it gets even more complicated. I think that what I found most interesting is all government has its levels of bureaucracy and its levels of rules that you have to follow. But as you work from the local level, you'll have county government, county councils, those types of things. At the state level, then you get a little more bureaucracy with your legislature that's involved in funding processes and those types of things. And then it gets even more complicated when you get to the federal level because you have a federal headquarters operation along with a local operating area or your local points of contact. And the success that we saw with federal government was being able to address our projects and our programs from both the local level and their local boots on the ground per se, and the headquarters office back in DC. So that was where we saw the success with our federal partners. From other programs beyond public safety, our experience with email and some of the other consolidated enterprise type services that we provide, we were able to see benefits to local governments that are seeing reductions in their budget, right? So we're all seeing budget constraints. Funding sources are drying up. Things are very difficult in these days and times. And having independent systems at each level of government just doesn't seem feasible anymore. So we see a lot of county governments and even municipalities working with the state to leverage enterprise operations that we already have in place. You know, it really is all about mobility. Anything that makes people mobile. But it's not just the mobile network, right? It's all of the applications. It's the application development behind it. The ability to share large volumes of data. Those things are becoming incredible. I think that our workforce is changing. Our customers are changing. Our constituents are changing, and mobility is the answer. So anything that has to do with mobility, whether it's mobile broadband, wireless services, or the ability to access that data securely from remote locations. It is back to that mobility. They have an expectation of being able to do their job remotely, to be able to answer questions and to be able to access systems and to be able to do their jobs remotely. I think that we're struggling a little bit in state government and at various levels of government because we operate a little bit in a responsive mode to our customers, to our constituents, because we have a long process of changing our rules and regulations. So we're not as nimble as, you know, a private organization. I think that we're making progress in those things. We've got some really bright people that are coming in and saying, if I can do it this way, I can show everybody else how to do it that way. And I think having an open mind for some of the other older leaders and non-millennial leaders in the organization, be open-minded about how we get work done, will be really beneficial for us in the long run. Most of our challenges just come from the fact that people resist change. But we're seeing a change in that. We talked about the millennials. It really is a change in the way that people are doing business and the way that people are doing things in their personal life. So people have become dependent and reliant on new technologies changing so rapidly that we have a hard time keeping up. And so I think that the changes that we see are just pointing out the benefits and making sure that people understand that we can still secure their information, we can still provide them the same level of service, but do it in a different way. And that's driven, again, by people's comfort with the technology, both in their private life and in their professional life. So some of the changes that we've put into place are looking at being able to provide a foundation for other services and not trying to be the complete and be-all, end-all, right, for service providers. Concentrate on the things that we can be good at: infrastructure, private cloud, and then some of the negotiations with the vendor community about public cloud, about what requirements need to go into the terms and conditions of an agreement, so that we can set some standards and put some things in place to guide other IT professionals within state government that have the ability to go out and work with that vendor community on specific projects. So if we can lay some foundation about some minimum requirements of what we expect from the vendor community, the vendor community has consistency, the state has consistency, and then we can move forward with a lot of positive projects. And I think that that's how we can really change the way we looked at it, right? It was all about consolidation in the past. It was all about one central enterprise IT organization. Well, we've changed that up a little bit, and we're looking at it more from the perspective of what can we do to help agencies be successful, and then provide levels of service to those that don't have the infrastructure, the bandwidth, or even the people to be able to do that. So there are a lot of technology options, and I think that we explore those over time. And more often I've found that the technology itself isn't what is reducing your cost. It's actually the way that you negotiate agreements, whether it be licensing agreements, maintenance agreements. So it's that negotiation, that standardization that brings a level of comfort between the procuring agency and the vendor that's providing those services. Everybody's going to be able to take advantage of virtualization and a smaller footprint and less power consumption and a lot of those things. And those are wonderful things that we should be thinking about, but we should also be thinking about enterprise licensing solutions, making sure that we're not paying double for licenses, so the agency's paying for it once and then we're paying it at the enterprise level. So managing those types of agreements and managing that relationship with our vendors, I think, is where we're going to see more savings than actually leveraging the actual technology, because the technology will come and the vendor community will bring that technology for us.